Hi, I've got Gagan Adlakha, and he's with this company that is difficult for me to pronounce, but I'm going to give it a go. Uh, Vektitva, and I'll let Gagan share more about that. But it's about the unfolding the true elements of people and organizations. He's a yogi coach. He mentors. He coaches. He works with leadership teams. He has an HR MBA. He's all about increasing consciousness and mindfulness. So I think that he's a great guest to have on today, and he's really applying these principles to the top levels of organizations and corporations. It's a pleasure to have you here today, Gagan, and we'll go from here.
Thank you very much.
So
That's how we say
you're
it
welcome.
in India. Thank you.
Namaste. Yes, absolutely. So my pleasure to speak with you today. So I had pre-podcast. I had a chance to just sort of get a flavor for what inspired this company's philosophies and strategies and so forth. And if you wouldn't mind sharing some of that, that'd be great.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
It's lovely to be here, and very happy to share, what we do. And the name of the company, you were pretty close for a newbie. So it's a very good.
You're being kind.
We call ourselves Vektitva. Okay, Vektitva. I know it's a tongue twister. Vektitva is a Sanskrit word which there's no exact meaning in English, but it's something like personality or individuality or the essence of a person. Vyakti is an individual, and Vektitva is that person's personality. It's almost like person and personality, almost like that. And it's a name that we chose very consciously because it embodies not only what we were trying to do, but also the story behind it is sort of drives our way of looking at organizations and people. So if you like, I can tell you a little bit about the story.
Absolutely. Very interested.
So yeah, so we are based in Delhi, and we've been around for about 25, 26 years now. Okay, and the company actually was started by the initial consulting endeavors of my friend and batchmate. His name is Arjun Shekhar. He started doing this on his own, 98 approximately, and then I joined him in 2004. Then we had another partner called Venkatesh Iyer who joined, and since then we have sort of grown. And the name Vektitva came around that time, around 2003, 2004 is when we named it. And why it's important for us is because where the name comes from the old logical or a yogic construct, Sankhya construct, that the human body, as we see it, is based out of comes from the five elements coming together. Okay, and they're called five tattvas or five bhutas. They come together and create a Vyakti. And the five elements are sky, water, air, earth, fire. These all five come together, and everything in the world, everything in the universe actually is actually made out of these things. And they say these five come together, create the Vyakti, which is the individual, and the Vyakti has a Vektitva, which is the personality, as I was explaining just a few minutes ago. And the personality of the person, the Vektitva of the person, depends on how these five have come together and what's the harmony between them. Okay, and the harmony is a very important piece. Not just the elements themselves. The harmony is a critical bit, and this construct of harmony is actually quite pervasive. It's quite common. Okay, I believe it is used in Zen, it is used in Tai Chi, it is used in Vastu, it is used in acupressure, it is used in Vedic astrology, and many more, I guess. That's what I've read and heard. And we thought that this was a very interesting construct, and we thought how we could use this construct to understand organizations or any system for that matter, including an individual. Okay, so how we see it is that, like the sky, every organization is something overarching or needs something overarching. The purpose, meaning, why do we exist, the reason of the entree, vision, mission, strategies, goals, something which is overarching, which everybody can look up to, get inspired by, align themselves to it, and that's the sky of the organization. Then, like the water, every organization needs flows, processes, systems, practices, ways of working, how people, resources, money, etc. is going to go around in the company. Things keep moving. So that's like the water element, and that's an important part of the organization. Then, like the air, every organization has a culture, which is all pervasive, impacts everything, but you can't put your finger on it. It's an intangible thing which impacts everything. You ask 5 people in the organization, what is the culture of the company, and the definitions are going to be different because it's so intangible, but it impacts everything. So it's like the air. And you and I all of us have gone into so many organizations, and just sitting in one meeting, or sometimes even sitting in the reception, you start getting a feel of the place.
Absolutely.
Then, like the fire, not only do we need fire in the belly, but we also need the warmth of the fire. Organizations are social constructs. You need people to be able to work together. Getting talent into the door is one kind of a challenge that all of us have, but getting them to work as a high performing team is a complete different ballgame. Okay? And this is very critical at the topmost level, the CXO level, the CXO team, the CEO and his or her direct reports. Because that team is the shared leadership team. And that team, people have come into that position because of their expertise in their functions, largely. Somebody's a finance, best person in finance, somebody's in HR, somebody's in production, somebody's in marketing, and so on and so forth. Every organization will have its own construct of doing that. But now what happens is they've reached here because they're best in the function or the senior most in the function, but they're not necessarily the best CXOs, because being a CXO is a different ballgame. It's a different hat that you wear. Okay, and that team needs to work together to be able to make a big difference to the organization. And that team, is what we like it to be, a shared leadership team. Okay, so they got everybody's back. It's like the analogy that we were talking about just before the podcast is like a football team or a basketball team. You get the best players, the best 6 players to play, for a team doesn't mean that they'll be a good team. Like Barcelona or the US basketball team we keep hearing about.
Yeah.
So, at NBA they'll be great, but when you put them together in the national team, it takes time for them to become a good team.
Gel. Yeah.
And there's some very interesting examples of Olympics and how they had to do the different stuff. So we believe getting that team to work as a high-performing team is a huge determinant of for the success and well-being of the organization. And if that team is working well, there's a high chance that teams below them will be also aligned. Then, like the earth, there's a fifth element. We need to look at the organization structure, on which everything is based on. Now, the structure is a formal structure, informal structure. It's the organogram to start with. If there's an overlap, we know there's a problem. If there's a gap, things will fall in between the cracks. So that's one level of understanding of the structure. But below that is also definition of roles. How the roles have been defined. What are the delegation of power to the roles? Who's making the decisions? How are they getting made? Because decisions are where the organization moves, and wherever the organization is today is based on the decisions made till now. What markets we'll go to, what product lines, how much do we spend on R&D, what's our go-to-market strategy, who do we tie up with, do we build, do we buy, blah blah blah. Every day thousands of decisions are getting made, and today wherever a company is based on decisions that have been made till now. Now going forward, the organization will go wherever based on the decisions that start getting made from today onwards. So in some ways, the decisions like the karma of the organization, it takes you where you need to go. So if we can help the organization make better decisions at the right level, at the right time, with the right amount of input and understanding, chances of the organization doing well become much higher. So therefore, decision making becomes a very critical piece as part of the earth structure, because that's part of the structure. So these 5 elements come together and create what we call a Vekti or an individual. For our model, we use this as a 6th element, because what the individual gets on the table is skills, competencies, and attitude. And we believe these 5 plus 1 are all interconnected. You can't pull one piece out. You pull one piece, the whole universe comes with it. And the gestalt of this is the Vektitva of the company, is the personality of the company. Okay? And if these are in harmony, the Vektitva is fantastic. Performance is good, engagement scores are good, people are happy, careers are getting made, wealth is getting created, and all that stuff. But if these are not in harmony, things go down. Okay, so our thinking of these elements is something like the systems thinking.
Yeah.
So if the system is in harmony, the performance is much better, and if it's not in harmony, all kinds of issues happen. So that's what we look at, and we also understand. And one important element of the systems thinking we get along with this model is that systems drive behavior. Experts like Peter Senge and Deming, etc., they say that 70 to 80, maybe 90% of human behavior is actually determined by the system they exist in, and not themselves. You were in India a few months ago. You told me,
Yes.
the driver who's driving in Delhi, breaking half a dozen traffic rules every hour, if he comes to California, or UK or Singapore, he's a model driver. Not because of new skills, not because of enlightenment that I'm not, the system just demands it.
Right.
So,
That's interesting. That's a good
yeah,
explanation. Yeah.
okay. I know we do so many training programs, we give so much feedback, we do coaching of people, assuming that all actions taken by people are determined by them. No, a large part of what people end up behaving is dependent on what the system is pulling from them. If you want to impact organizations, you got to start seeing what is the system pulling. It's not that
That's
you don't need
interesting.
training. It's not that you don't need to give input to people, but that's not it. The system is pulling the behaviors.
So the system is created, like you were saying, you first work with the upper management and so forth, the CEO and so forth. So would you say that the systems are first implemented through their commands or their decisions, or because there's the individual level, like gaining skills, etc., different things that they do in the organization. So I'm just curious, like, where do you think that most systems, and probably each department or area has their own way of developing systems, but I'm sure it's driven by leadership
Yeah.
at
This
the
is
high
slightly,
level.
sorry, I'm jumping, sorry.
Oh, no, please.
So this system is not the systems. It's not like the reimbursement system or the leave system or all that kind of stuff. No,
Yeah.
this is the organization system. This is the system's thinking part of it. So how to look at the organization together and be able to make a difference or help them meet their aspirations. So let's take an example of AI, okay,
Yeah.
which is your area.
We talked to chat about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if an organization or a CEO and his or her team, etc., decide that we need to become an AI-enabled organization, or we need to use AI for becoming a better company. Okay. Now, how do you go about it? You can't just say, okay, let's put people into training programs, it will happen. It will not work only. It may be necessary, but not sufficient. You can't say, okay, let's replace all our IT systems with AI. That's not enough. So, therefore, what we will do is we'll help them understand, look at it from the system perspective. First of all, how is it part of your strategy? Okay, is it part of your goals? Okay, are you putting it into people's KRAs, okay, or OKRs? Then in the culture, are we encouraging people to use it? Are we rewarding the right behaviors? Are we encouraging people to make mistakes? Doesn't matter if they make mistakes in while moving from existing systems to AI-based systems. Okay. On the process side, that is the water, are we putting the processes in place which encourage use of this thing? Are we revamping existing processes which can do it? The leadership team, does it take leadership of this change? Does it also understand what it can do to make a difference? The structures will have to change because we'll have to put it into structures and how you have to use AI. Then we'll have to train people, which is the Vekti. So you actually have to look at all the elements to be able to make the organization move from this curve to the next curve.
Well done. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good. I mean, the framework works in a lot of different. Actually, like you're saying, most business challenges, decisions, choices are stemming from
Yeah,
how this is all applied.
yeah, if you don't look at the whole system, the change won't happen. That is why, sometimes you say, okay, let's train everybody in the company on AI. Sure, it'll make
Yeah.
a difference. But will it change the organization system? Unlikely. Because everything else is not changed. Everything else is not changed. It's like a newer resolution. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll run every morning, but I will not change anything else in my life. I won't change my sleeping time. I won't change my partying habits. I won't change my doom scrolling at night. I'll do nothing else. I'll just make one. It won't work. It has to be a
Yeah.
systemic way to make it a real sustainable and
It will stick. Yeah.
stick. Yeah, and that'll transform the organization. Otherwise, very difficult. Very difficult.
So looking at your organization, your business, and so to speak, do you feel like you guys have your organization, your leadership, have you? I imagine you've spent a lot of time working on your own internal systems instead of from a holistic standpoint. What do you see that it's as things are changing so quickly? We talk about technology. How does it apply directly to your business, and what do you see the outcome? As far as, do you feel like you're reaching the vision or goals that you guys are setting forward for yourselves?
Sure. So, so that brings me to another point. Lovely question. That, this system that I was talking about and this harmony between the elements is dynamic. It's like an organism. It's like the amoeba. Okay,
Yeah.
it's constantly changing, morphing, emerging. Okay, because it is responding to external stimuli. It's responding to internal stimuli. New people are joining, new markets are opening up, new tariffs are coming in. All kind of stuff is happening. So the system needs to constantly emerge, evolve, adapt to the situation, and yet maintain the harmony. So that actually is a task of the leadership team to keep this whole gestalt in their mind while trying to handle the uncertainties of the VUCA world or whatever it's called these days, and the internal aspirations of people and the anxieties of people and everything else. So I think that's what they need to look at this, and this model. What it can do is this can help you keep track that where are the disharmonies coming, okay, and disharmonies are the ones that are causing things to go down. So, for example, I was working for a pharma company. And that pharma company, for I think 3 years in a row, the CEO kept insisting, we have to be innovative. We have to be innovative. He put it up in the in the strategies. Then he took it up right up to the vision, and he kept harping about it in every town hall. But the culture in that place was, you make one mistake, and you're doomed. And publicly you could be humiliated, or publicly you could be pulled up. Nobody wants to make mistakes there. How do you create an innovative company where the culture doesn't allow any experimentation of any kind, or any mistakes of any kind?
Good example. Yeah.
This harmony between the sky, which is the aspiration, and the air, which is the culture. Unless there's harmony between this, you're going nowhere. So that is what we help organizations and the leaders understand, that, hey, where is the disharmony coming? We want to either we change our aspirations or we change the culture. We'll have to work on one of these. That will not work.
Yeah. You have to align the two. Yeah.
And
so that's what my question is, like, just how within your organization, like, how does that get applied? Even if it's maybe on a different scale or whatever, it's just, but it's, I imagine you guys have your core team that there are things that you take these same principles, and how do you feel like there's challenges you face today that of course that weren't there yesterday or in times past, and how are you in harmony and agreement to, like, okay, this is how we're going to go about tackling those things?
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, we have always talked about it, and it's one of the important things for us is to eat our own dog food.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Stuff, we better do it ourselves. So we have been extremely careful in making sure that we do this for ourselves, and it has been a very productive journey. We use the same model to look at ourselves regularly. The language, the vocabulary of everybody in the company, even if they're new people, is move towards this. We look at problems from the systems thinking perspective. Not to say we don't slip up, or not to say we are always.
You're human. Yeah.
You're human. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a guiding principle. That's the way we look at things.
Okay.
Every transition that we've had, and we've had, obviously, like any other organization, we've had our different curves. We have used this to be able to define the new curve. So, for example, right now, the curve that we have decided, the three of us who are the partners, now we are stepping back.
Okay.
We're letting the new team take over. Okay. So we had an interim CEO.
That's a big change. That's a very, very big. Yeah.
But we're using the same model to do it.
Wonderful.
We're doing the same model, and we're co-creating it so that the ownership is with everybody.
Wonderful.
And we
constantly. Now, this is what I was curious about, because just as innovative and sort of that you guys but the fact that you're embodying it and making massive change for an organization.
Absolutely. Full transformation is happening. We are sort of stepping back. The new team is taking over. Big transformation. But this model just enables us to, be on the wheel. We know where we are going. We know what to do. Of course, it's challenging. Of course, it has its own challenge. But we'll handle it.
Yeah. So that's good. And so you're collectively determining the future of your organization, right? It's not just handing over the keys or whatever, and then you guys step away. There's some sort of process that's happening.
The process happening, we know where to get involved, and we co-create this and how much of how much of involvement is required in what area. Like for example, culture is a much deeper area, and because we are the founders in a way or the partners in a way, so we have deep roots there. So we assist the new CEO with culture a little bit more. We say okay, you can do your own processes. That's fine. How you're doing your collections and how you're doing your billing, but culture is something we like. So we use the same
Yes.
language, the
So it's
same vocabulary to be able to help transition from one curve to the other curve. Pretty
Are you
much.
still involved? Are you still involved in your like facilitating, like with let's say you hire or you get a client that is a Fortune 500 company, do you just talk? Do you the core team? Do you guys still? Are you still involved in it? I guess is the
Yes,
question.
yes. So what we've done is the day-to-day handling of the organization is done by the new team, and they're doing things their way. We are available to do certain projects, okay, where we can make a difference, and where we're
Yeah,
excited to do the work.
absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, there are
So you're
projects
in.
to step in and do it, but we are not that involved as we were, let's say, a few years ago.
Right.
And we're pursuing our own interest as well because we believe in this chapter of our lives we need to do different things. So we are also creating space in our lives to do other stuff in our life, and
Yeah.
and also not interfere, allow the new team to make its own mistakes, and
Do you feel like they're implementing in a way that you guys are satisfied with, and you're happy with the
see, I
performance? And
think yeah, so I think we don't want to be we want to give them some principles. We want to give them some guardrails so that they don't really screw it up. But otherwise, I
yeah,
think they are the ones who are running the company now. I think they should have the freedom to do it their way.
yeah,
There are
yeah,
some certain principles in place and certain guardrails in place.
yeah. Okay. And you mentioned that your founders and so forth have sort of found the space to create new opportunities within, whether personally or within the organization. So you mentioned in the pre-podcast about your interests I'm trying to remember the name of it's a Yogi Sutras you were talking about,
Yeah.
and coming from the
Indic wisdom.
Indic wisdom. I would love to hear more about. I'm sure listeners would love to hear more about what's
Sure.
happening now in that journey.
Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, the space that we have created, we want to do stuff which excites us and also be able to integrate it with the work that we are doing. So, for example, Venki, Venkatesh Iyer, the third partner who was number 3 in coming into the part, this thing, he is focusing a lot on his area of work and his expertise, and he wants to a certain balance in work life. The founder, Arjun Shekhar, he is working very heavily in the social sector and a lot of OD work. That's the thing that he wants to do. He loves OD, and that's where he wants to do organization design and development. I'm a little more interested in the whole Indic wisdom, as you mentioned, and I
Yes.
come to that. So Yoga Sutras is what I have been trying to study very deeply. See, yoga is seen, unfortunately, as only the asanas that you do and the impossible postures that you do, and that's just a very small part of yoga. Yoga is a way of life. Yoga is a way of living. And Yoga Sutras is a amazing text that sort of explains the working of the mind better than anywhere else that I've read. I've read a lot of Western psychology. I've used it. I'm an MBA in HR, so we've studied these, and they've been very useful. The leadership models, the frameworks of how the mind works, etc., are extremely useful. However, the whole body of knowledge, which is the Indic side, which is the ancient sciences which provide us these inputs, which are extremely useful for today's world and today's clients of mine and my own self, and to develop. So the Western psychology bucket is full. I've been working on that for 35 years. This is fairly recent. This is about only about 10 years. And Yoga Sutra is only about 3 odd years. So there's lots that I'm trying to fill this bucket and then use whatever is required by my clients, so that I can.
Is there anything that comes to mind within the Yoga Sutras that you could say this can be applied like for any individual's life, and there will be that you will see positive change?
You wanna
Yeah, I want to see what's in there. what's inside that that captivates you so much.
Yeah, so Yoga Sutra is extremely deep. It's really trying to make us understand that how our behaviors are, where are the behaviors coming from. See, at the end of it, there is a whole, let's say there's a, if I were to use the same language, there's a karmic kind of a outcome of things. So you do an action and it has a certain response. Like I was talking about that the organization is nothing but consequences of all the decisions that are getting made. I think the individuals are like, okay, where I am today and where you are today is nothing but the consequences of all the actions and decisions that we have taken. Which country to stay in, what to study, which company to work for, do a startup, work for an MNC, married, not married, kids, no kids, how much exercise I do, what do I eat, how much do I sleep, everything is a decision. And
Yes.
today, where I am and where you are is nothing but a consequence of all the decisions that have got made till today. Therefore, you have written your destiny and you are responsible for where you are. Okay? The future is going to be based on that. The first thing to do is to take charge of yourself and say, hey, I am where I am because of my own decisions. Okay, of course, in this small explanation, there are many things which I have not covered, which people can,
They can explore, yeah, but this gives,
but
I
they can
think what this is a great framework
yeah.
for, I think what you're saying is that it's like there are like the stacking of all these decisions that have been made in our past, but now moving forward to kind of help direct the direction of your life. Be conscious of decisions. I mean, that's as simple as it.
And 90% plus decisions are unconscious decisions, unconscious choices.
That's fascinating.
90+%. And
90%.
that is what it does. The Yoga Sutras
Wow.
help to understand where are those unconscious choices coming from.
So it helps sort of uncover those and
To uncover those. It helps to uncover.
nice.
And just to go back to the first one about you being responsible, it doesn't mean that you're responsible for everything that happens to you, but you're responsible for responding to everything that happens to you. The
That's
weather.
a distinction that's important.
Yeah. So, you have no control over what happens to you. Okay. But you have 100% control of how you respond to it. Okay. If somebody, abuses me, it's my choice how I respond. So the interesting example that I keep giving people, if suppose somebody was to abuse me in a language which I didn't know, it won't make a difference. But if he was to abuse me in the language that I know, my response will be different. So
True.
It's not a trigger, it's my understanding and my response which will make the difference. So
Interesting.
yeah, so what it does is,
Yeah.
first of all, it takes you away from the victim mentality. You're not a victim.
Yes.
You are in charge of your life, and you should take charge of your life and have the agency to write the script of your life as you want to. So first, that is the first principles. Take charge. You're writing your story. You're writing your book.
Yeah.
Take charge and do it. Don't be a victim. I'm a victim of society. I'm a victim of my government. I'm a victim of the economy. I'm a victim of my husband, wife, brother, father, mother, whatever. No. The second thing to do is, how am I making my choices? And as I was mentioning, 95% choices. Can I increase the conscious choice percentage and reduce the unconscious choice percentage? Understand where are my patterns coming from? Where are my habits coming from? What stories am I operating from? What self-belief? What self-image? What identification? What fear? So it goes down, right down, to make you understand that why am I making those decisions? Why do I fall into the same trap again and again? Why do I find myself in a deja vu situation so often?
Fascinating. No, this is great. I mean, I could go. I would love to spend another hour with you. And it's you've covered so much, and your company and your philosophies. I think that I could see why you've been a success in your business, and your now you're passing it on to your new generation, and exploring the Yogic Sutras, the Indic, and all. I mean, so it's great. You're really following direction. And these choices you're making, of course, will dictate what your life is going to become.
Absolutely.
And, so I think it's wonderful, and I think it's great for anybody listening that this is just kind of truth or universal wisdom, and it's like if you practice it, it will bring change about in a person's life and in an organization's success and growth and so forth.
Absolutely.
Gagan, thank you so much for being on. Hopefully maybe we'll get another chance to talk down the road, see where you're at in a year or two from now. Who knows? But anyway, we'll catch up soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure.